Welcome to Mellencamp Pavilion on the campus of Indiana University here in Bloomington, Indiana, as we bring you the 2016 Indiana Pro Day. I'm Don Fischer, along with Big Ten Network analyst Howard Griffith and former Indiana football player Anthony Corsaro, who will handle sidelines today. Guys, welcome to the show. Obviously, we're looking forward to this event here this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent opportunity. You think about the excitement that's going through the minds of the guys that are going to have a chance to participate, want to better some of the numbers from the combines, and some guys just want to get on the NFL radar.
Without question, Anthony, you played with all these guys. Is this a pretty exciting time for them?
Yeah, definitely. Just knowing what they're going through and knowing the mindset they're going to bring today, I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Well, we're looking forward to bringing you all the activity here this afternoon with this Pro Day. Obviously, a lot of players, 10 of them, in fact, will be trying out for the scouts that are on hand. All 32 NFL football teams are on hand here to view these guys today and to take in the action. So we look forward to bringing you the story. Kevin Wilson, the head football coach at Indiana University, will join us right after these messages. Welcome back to Indiana's 2016 Pro Day. We're joined by Indiana head football coach Kevin Wilson. And, Coach, first of all, I know you've got 10 kids that are going to participate in today's Pro Day. I know you're looking forward to seeing how they do.
Very much so. I mean, it's a good group of guys. Some of these guys got a lot of notoriety, like Jason Spriggs or Jordan Howard or Sudfeld, but I'm excited to see what Zach Shaw does. It's a good quality guy, or Darius Rayner. Because some of those guys got a chance, like Bobby Richardson, maybe to be a free agent. Maybe they'll do well today with their numbers. They didn't get the combine invite. Our team has gotten better in some of its individual work, but this is actually a good group. So I'm excited for all 10 guys. And know they've trained well. They got 3 or 4 years of training, and I think they'll perform well today.
Coach, you talked about that training that they've had for the guys that had the opportunity to go to the combines, and you mentioned the guys that didn't. But this is a comfortable surrounding for them, isn't they, where they should go out and be able to put up some good numbers today?
Well, and I think that's what – in the lifting we just did, we had several guys that had personal records. Okay. And we got a little thing where we ring the bell when you do that, and it's like 4 guys in a row did that. So one, it's a credit to our strength staff. Mm-hmm. 2, it's a credit to those guys. Some of those guys have personal trainers, but a lot of our guys trained here. Mm-hmm. And we believe with the commitment our schools made, Howard, with nutrition and our strength coaches, sometimes that's better than anything personally you can go get. And they're staying in school. They're working on completing their education. So some guys, they've worked hard for 4 years, but they've continued to work hard. We got a new strength coach in Keith Caden, but it goes back to Rick Dannison and Deontay Mack and that core strength staff that's been here. And the nice thing is that the majority of these guys are actually trying to complete their degree and graduate and have a great pro day. So we're excited. We're happy to be in a home setting. I think they're going to have good numbers, not just because of home setting, but I think they've continued to develop.
Good. Coach, how difficult is it for these young men to understand exactly what they need to do to become an NFL football player, in the sense of, obviously they've played the game at the college level, but now it's going to a different level?
No doubt. And it's significantly different. For today, for example, we're getting ready to run the 40s here. Mm-hmm. But these guys are watching them warm up in their body language, how they interact and talk. Because when you're drafting or signing someone to your organization, your team, you're bringing in a teammate. And you need someone that's a good fit. So a lot of coaches and scouts aren't, because they could get these times and pass them around. Your videotape shows you're fast, shows you're strong, shows you're explosive, but they're also judging these kids as people. What kind of person am I getting? So, I'm excited to see how they do. And at the same time, it is such a big step. So many great college players don't transition into being a great pro player. And that's not personal. It's a different game, and sometimes you don't fit. But I'm just proud of the work these guys have done, the way we've grown as a program, the way we've trained. And I do think we have some kids that are going to make it the next level out of this crowd.
And Coach, sometimes when you talk about guys taking that next step to the NFL, it's a step away from the university, a step away from the coaching staff. But it's very clear that not only your coaches, but you are still heavily invested in these young men that want to get their degree and also go to that next level. How important is that for the program?
No doubt, because the better they're doing, the better we're doing. I like, you guys start talking to all these agents, which are nice, but you're paying them. You're paying me nothing. I'm still paying you a scholarship. Let us take care of you, because the better you individually do, it's a reflection of our institution, our athletic department, and most importantly, our football family. So, I'm proud of them. I'm proud that they understand. As our football team's grown, we're doing a lot of things right here, and those kids have done a lot of things right. So, again, I think there's some guys that are going to make it, because the key thing in making it outside of physical skill set, Howard, is maturity.
Yeah.
And I think as a program, we've tried to mature. I think these kids are going to have some intellect and off-the-field maturity, as well as physical maturity, that you need to have a chance to make a pro team and be an NFL player.
Coach, when you look at your football program overall, the strength and conditioning area has dramatically improved here, has it not?
No doubt. One, that's a facility that was built. But the second thing, it was our department, and when I was hired, I made a huge deal about, you've got to give me a chance to get the people in place to use that facility to train our people. And from there, since I've been here, we've grown so much in nutrition, in the education of nutrition, how to sleep, how to take care of your body, how to maximize these 3, 4, 5 years, because the social life of college is nice, but social life is going to be there forever. Right. Your football career is small. And we've done a great job of educating our kids on how to maximize not just the facility, but the institutional commitment. And that's a blessing that I thank President McRobbie and Fred Glass and our administration for giving not just football, but all our athletes some high-end training. A great facility, but great staff and great nutrition to back it up.
When you have an opportunity to have 32 representatives on your campus, what does that do for the morale, I would ask, of the younger guys that are still trying, they're looking at these guys that are going to compete out here today and see that, I can be that if I go out and work as hard as I can?
One, not only morale, but for our team to realize, we went from no one at the combine to no one to 1 to 2 to 4. Hey, that our team's getting better, and we're recruiting better bodies, and we're developing better. If you'll just invest in our process, there is potential individual opportunity. These guys are all individually good, but collectively, that's a great group of teammates that's made our program stronger, and that's what I'm proud about. You're going to see some individuals today that are going to be drafted, some of them drafted high. You're going to see some guys maybe be free agents, like Bobby Richardson last year, who finished second in the NFL in tackles as a rookie, but was a free agent. That's a great group of kids. I'm proud of them. I'm really proud to show and highlight our program and how far we're coming, how far we're going. I appreciate you being here, and it's always great to be here with you, Don. Thanks for being here today.
Coach, thanks very much for joining us, and we look forward to bringing you more of this Pro Day 2016 here at Indiana University in a moment. Welcome back to the 2016 IU Pro Day here at Mellencamp Pavilion on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington. And they started some of the exercises that we're going to see here today. And Howard Griffith is, of course, along with us. Howard, talk a little bit about the vertical jump, one of the training exercise that these guys do that they're testing them on.
Yeah, I think one of the things you happen when you talk about the vertical jump and also the broad jump is they're looking for explosiveness, that lower body ability to jump out and really explode. And where does that help you? Well, obviously, if you're an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, you're coming out of your stance, you're able to explode into someone and be able to generate that power. The same thing is there when you talk about vertical jump. Although you're going up, it's still about the explosive movements that they're able to do.
And then, of course, you've got the broad jump, which is, we pretty much know what that is, and that is about explosiveness, correct?
Trying to get out as far as you can, really try to generate that lower body explosion to get out and really be able to really have a center of gravity, be able to control yourself, and that's what we'll see a lot of times. The guys will jump way out there and they'll lose their balance and they may fall back. They never count it. They have to jump and stick it and be able to hold it so that they can get an accurate measurement. And again, it's about explosiveness, trying to really measure what these guys can do lower body-wise.
Is it important in every position on a football field?
Yeah, I think absolutely it's important. It's one of those things, one of those baselines for every position. How much power can you generate in a short amount of space? I think a lot of times people think about the 40, and that dictates how fast a player is. But when you see see a guy trying to broad jump, to me, it's working up. It's how quickly they can generate power in a small area to be able to win that one-on-one battle.
Our sideline reporter, Anthony Corsaro, is down there watching some of these young men perform. Anthony, you obviously have done this in testing before as well. What is it like for these guys, and what are they trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, Don, I'm sure they got some nerves going on right now, but Howard said it best about the explosiveness. That's really what they're trying to key in on right here, and it's all about just kind of maximizing the jumps. Everyone has their own little routine, but everyone just wants to get that last little inch out to see if they can climb up the board.
Anybody that has really impressed you from your teammates over the years and what they're capable of doing?
Well, you look at a guy like Jason Spriggs. His ability to jump the way he jumps, being 300 pounds, is really impressive, and I'm sure that's something that the scouts are really attracted to.
No question. These guys all are trying to impress the scouts that are here today. How much pressure is on these guys, Howard? Because obviously they're trying to do the best that they possibly can to give themselves an opportunity.
Well, it's a job interview, right? For the guys that were fortunate enough to go to the combines, this is the second interview. For some of the guys that didn't get that invite, this is their first. So it's always nerve-wracking, and you want to go out and do your very best. But this is really another opportunity for you to go out and show your worth and show your athleticism. That's what it's about. And they're watching everything. It's just not about the numbers you put up. It's how you walk up to the line. If you had a disappointing jump, how you react to that disappointing. So everything is being evaluated at this. And, at the college level, you're being evaluated by your coaches as well, and they really get a good sense of who you are. But for these pro scouts that are coming in, they're going to go back tonight, write up those reports, and it'll be every little detail, not just the numbers that you were able to achieve in the broad jump, but how you reacted, if it was good or bad.
Anthony, can you tell us how many opportunities do these young men get in each one of these particular exercises? The vertical, do they get more than one or two or three different opportunities to leap into the air and see what they can do?
Don, it's looking like they're getting about 3 at the moment, unless there's some kind of misstep or something like that. But typically 3 to 4 is the number that you're given.
We're going to look at Jason Spriggs right now, who is one of the more impressive athletes on this Indiana football team. A guy that's like 6'8", almost 300 pounds, and yet this guy's got tremendous numbers in all of the exercises, had a tremendous combine.
Well, it's no doubt that he is, without a question, an elite athlete. You just see him jumping. You also see the enthusiasm from his players, right? His former teammates that understand just how special this young man truly is. So when he can go out and compete the way he does, it really speaks volumes. Not only just about what he is able to do as an individual, but really what this program has helped him do. I always go to the offensive line first, anytime when I'm on the spring tour, the summer tour, and Spriggs is one of the guys that I always wanted to watch because Coach Frey takes him through all these drills. They're drills for DBs or wide receivers, and their offensive line really does a great job with doing agility drills, and when you watch the athleticism that he has that's on display today, you see why he's able to really excel in some of the drills that you normally see guys at positions that play wide receiver or cornerback actually do those drills well as well.
Obviously, Spriggs is a guy who came into Indiana at about 245, 250 pounds. He was 6'8" when he got here. But the weight that they put on him, and it's not fat. This guy is as cut as anybody you're going to see as an offensive lineman.
Right, he really is. And it's really a testament to the way he works. And again, back to the strength staff and what they were able to do to put him in a position to really take advantage of the facilities. And I think when you come to Indiana, you have an opportunity to come here and you take a look at this weight room. It's a beautiful weight room, and they have an opportunity to get better there. But it's also about the strength staff being able to put a program together that's going to really utilize these guys' best attributes. Because a lot of times we'll talk about, okay, you can go in, you can move, how much weight you can move. That's great, but how does it translate to the field? Right? You want to do functional movements that are really going to help your team move. And when you look at a guy like Spriggs, it's clearly that he has them all.
And now Nate Sudfeld going up there, and he's 6'5". He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks are not always known to be the most athletic guys on the football team, but Nate's not bad.
He's not bad at all. And sometimes you think about a quarterback that kind of sits back in the shotgun and throws and surveys the field, but if you watch him on tape, he moves well enough. Now, is he a great mobile quarterback that's going to run for 200 yards? Well, we've seen it. No, that's not him. But he can move well enough to make things happen. As you see him right there on the broad jump as he stumbled back, they won't count that one, so he'll get another opportunity to really try to stick it. But he's a player that is athletic enough to really be able to make plays. And I think the key with Nate, he's outstanding upstairs. The mental aspect of his game is, I think, what will really impress scouts.
Well, there's no question that Indiana's offense is complicated. If you're a quarterback, you have to be able to do a lot of different things to understand exactly what Coach Wilson is wanting his quarterback to do. And Nate had to grow into that process, but he is obviously a very intelligent young man and very quickly grasped the system because he actually played as a freshman.
Yeah, it really did an outstanding job. And, you know, we get an opportunity to go around and talk to these young men, and we get a chance to, from my perspective, to watch them develop on the field. But for me, it's more fun when they're sitting in the chair next to us and really getting to know him. And talking with him last year, he was really focusing on the team goals, and he understood that. And sometimes guys get wrapped up in individual accolades, but he's not one of those guys. He understands what's important and wants to go out and do the very best for his team and put them in position, because when he's on the field, it's a much better football team.
Well, we're watching the vertical and the broad jump for these players here today at Mellencamp Pavilion as Indiana continues its Pro Day 2016. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the 2016 IU Pro Day here at Mellencamp Pavilion on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington. And Howard Griffith is alongside. And right now we're about to see the 40-yard dash, Howard. And everybody knows what this one's all about.
Right, it's all about quickness, right? Everybody wants to run 4.4 or below. But the reality is there are very few guys that can run at that level. But I always go, why do we need to see offensive linemen and defensive linemen run 40s? We really don't need that, do we? Have we ever seen them run 40 yards? It just doesn't happen. But, you know, obviously it's one of those staples when you talk about measuring an athlete is you talk about that 40-yard dash. So we'll see some of the running backs. It obviously will be important for Jordan Howard to come out and put a good time in if he's going to be running the 40. So some things like that are important to see today.
One of the guys that we're going to see here at the very outset is Andre Booker. He's a walk-on.
Yeah.
He earned a scholarship in 2015. This guy wasn't even heard from on the football field until his senior year.
Right.
And yet he comes up with 3 or 4 huge plays during the football season. And now all of a sudden he's on people's radar.
Right.
And now he's really trying to prove himself.
And this is a big opportunity for him when you talk about being able to go out and run that 40, put up a good time. As we mentioned earlier, we talked about, you know, for some guys, this is going to be the first job audition, the first time they have an opportunity to be in front of these scouts. So he's going to be able to want to run as fast as possible today. I'm sure the guys are training for it, have been putting a lot of time and effort. It really all is about the start. You know, you could start to talk about, you know, just the long speed, but it's about getting a great start when you talk about running a great 40.
If, as a wide receiver, what's your expectation? What's the kind of speed needed to play in the NFL?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will tell you can run 4.3, you run 4.4, 4.5. To me, really, 4.6 is probably that number, depending upon where you're going to be. If you're a possession-type receiver where you're able to really run routes. Listen, most of the guys are 4.4. 4.5, 4.6 guys that are running and playing in the National Football League now. But the guys that really get the hype and the publicity, that are able to stretch the field, they're at a very high premium. But most guys are fitting right into that box. So that's where it'll be important for the individual workout to be able to show that you can run great routes.
Well, we're about to take a look at Andre Booker and his 40 time. There you see him getting ready.
Oh, my goodness. I think he's going to put up a good time. I can, just by watching what I just saw there for about 3 seconds, right, I think he'll be able to put up a nice time, and it'll be important for him.
Anthony Corsaro is down there on the sideline. He's taking a look at it. Anthony, I think you'll be able to come up with a time for us, won't you?
Yeah, I think I will be able to. Andre looks ready to go.
Andre, as we said, a walk-on here in Indiana, earns a scholarship in 2015, walk-on player of the year. And a young man he's got the greatest personality, Howard. This kid's, every time his smile lights up the room, it's just amazing.
You know, I've got a special place in my heart for walk-ons because I'm a former walk-on, and you know, you work as hard as you possibly can for an opportunity to go out and really show your teammates that you're able to play at a high level and that you were just, you know, overlooked, and you're always playing with a chip on your shoulder. So I'm sure he's been preparing for this moment for quite a long time, and I expect him to go out and do a good job.
Is the start critical?
I think without a doubt, it's really all about the start, and you'll see someone there, right there at the start. They don't want him rolling into it. They want him to kind of hold that stance for probably 3 seconds before he comes out, because some guys will try to roll into that start, and they'll stop him if that's the case. But I got to imagine that he's going to get a good start here.
Here it goes. Wide receiver Andre Booker.
Tight end, number 85, Michael.
Looks like he's in shape, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Holy cow.
Yeah, he's moved a few weights in his time. And again, it's a credit to what he's been able to do as an individual, but also a credit to the strength staff here that's been able to get him prepared.
And the next man is going to be Michael Cooper as he gets his first opportunity. Anthony, anything on the time on Andre?
Yeah, unofficially coming in at a 4.35. That is 4.45. I'm sorry. That's still very impressive.
And we talked about the first thing I saw. Quick twitch muscles, really did a good job. And hopefully that time is able to stand. But again, why we got the big guys running 40s today? But, you know.
This is your tight end, Michael Cooper. And he's running the 40 here. And he's one of the position group's teammates of Anthony Corsaro. Anthony, this guy he had a great senior year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a heck of a player. He's a great worker. And I think if he can put up good numbers in the 40 today, it's going to really jump off people's radars, because he's known for his physical presence, so that's unquestioned.
Yeah, and I think it's important when you talk about tight ends, you know, they've got the move tight ends that are moving around that they set up to run block. But I think that he more so fits the mold of a guy that's going to be an inline block, to be able to help him at the point of attack. And I think that's where he can really make the biggest impact in the National Football League right now.
And now Jordan Howard getting an opportunity here in the 40. And this guy was special this year on this Indiana football team, but he ran into some injury issues. And I think right now he's probably about as healthy as he's been.
Yeah, I think anytime you carry the football, not only the way he did here in Indiana, but before, it really takes its toll. He's a very physical runner, wants to pound you, not going to be very elusive, but run past people. So he's going to have some of those injuries that are going to nick him up. But we could see in this offense, when he was playing, this offense was so much better.
And Darius Latham now getting ready to run his 40. Defensive tackle for this Indiana football team. This guy's a big guy, but what an athlete he has been.
Yes, very athletic, and I think really when you look at him, the most important numbers for him is that first 10 yards, that explosiveness. Remember, we talked about that with the vertical, we talked about that with the broad jump. Really, that first 10 yards will really be important and critical for him.
Darius Latham out of Indianapolis, North Central High School. And the big man, showing pretty good speed there.
Yeah, he's fast enough. I think that at the end of the day, you just want him to be able to play low. And he's a young player. You got to remember that. He's a young player, so he's going to have an opportunity to truly develop at the next level, because he has all the tools to be able to play at that level. He just has to be consistent in what he does each and every day.
Anthony, got any times on those other fellas?
Yeah, unofficially we have Jordan Howard coming in at 4.51, and I know he'd probably want to be a little faster than that, but that's not a bad time. He's a big guy. He's a big back. We also have 4.77 for Michael Cooper.
4.77 for Michael Cooper. This is a Darius Rayner, another big defensive tackle for this Indiana football team.
Yeah, I think you have to be impressed that Jordan Howard was able to go out and run 4.5. I got to tell you, that's an outstanding time for him. I know guys, as I said earlier, want to be faster, but 4.5 is fast enough to play in the National Football League, and I think he's gonna be excited, and the scouts are excited about that time.
The amazing thing about Jordan Howard, in my opinion, was how he broke tackles at the point of attack.
Yeah.
It was amazing. He was strong.
Yeah, very strong, physical runner, tough to bring down, the kind of guy you don't want to see at the end of the day.
This is Jake Reed, Indiana starting center last year. And another young man that's trying to impress the scouts here in the 2016 Pro Day here at Indiana.
Yeah, I think, it's important, scouts deem it important, these 40 yards. But for the big fellas, if you want to look at the first 10 yards of it to show the explosiveness, to me, that's what is important, because these guys aren't going to be running 40 yards.
Zach Shaw is a big defensive tackle, 6'3", 253, defensive end actually. Played kind of the bandit position for Indiana and did a very good job this past year.
Showed a lot of versatility, a lot of athleticism, and that's what, at the next level they want. They want to be able to see guys be able to do.
Zach has always been known as one of those guys that could pick him up and put him down. So he's very quick. I think he'll probably end up with a pretty good time. Any other times out there, Anthony?
Yeah, we have Darius Latham coming in at 5'2", which is not bad for a big guy. He's a big guy, so that's not a bad time.
Okay. Now we got Nate Sudfeld. What's quarterback got to run here, Howard?
yeah, just don't fall down. That's all quarterbacks need to be able to do. His time and his evaluation. Yeah, you want to know how fast he can run, but it's really when he lines up and he's able to make some of the throws that he'll make a little later on in the day. But I think the willingness to be able to come out and run a 40 really shows that he's willing to compete. And I think that's important, because quarterback 40 times really aren't all that important.
He's 6'6", 240. And always seemed to make positive yards when he did run the football. He didn't run it a lot, but when he did run it, he was always able to make very positive yards.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about quarterbacks, it's about being able to be elusive in the pocket, right? It's not necessarily being able to break off a 20 or 30-yard run, but being able to step up, get into the fight, as some coaches like to talk about, stepping up in the pocket, stepping to the left or the right with his eyes still downfield and making the throw.
Anthony, anything else on times?
Yeah, we have Zach Shaw coming in at a 4.7, which is a solid time, and Sudfeld unofficially at a 4.82, so sub-5 for Sudfeld.
And now we got Andre Booker again.
Back up, trying to better that time.
So do they get more than one if they want to go a second time?
Normally, coaches, they want to see 2.
I got you.
Looks like you got a good start there. Strong.
And a 4.41, did he go the first time? That's not bad. So we'll see if he was able to better it this time.
Don, we have Andre's time. It was a 4.37. That's a very impressive time.
Yeah, so even if it's 4.4, right, 4.37, I mean, I can't go 10 yards in 4.3 seconds. So a very impressive time. And again, even if you were a walk-on, at this particular point, you've developed your body. You're going to walk away here with a degree and just an opportunity. And when you run times like that, that gives you a great opportunity for special teams, because I think that's where he has to make his name for himself immediately if he wants to make an NFL team.
And this is Michael Cooper. His second attempt at the 40. Yeah, Howard, how much truth is there to football speed and then speed? Because that's something you hear all the time.
Yeah, I think you can look at the great Jerry Rice, and he didn't have great speed as far as the clock is concerned, but you watch him run those shallow crosses, and they're legendary. He ran away from people. You look at guys like Emmitt Smith, ran away from people, didn't have great times as far as 40s are concerned, and the list goes on and on and on. It's about football speed, and some guys test really well, and some guys are just football players. And this guy right here, Jordan Howard, is a football player. He's the kind of guy you want on your team that's going to help a team really be successful.
Talk about a guy that's got a tremendous lower body strength. I mean, that's what it takes as a running back. You know that. I mean, you had that strength too.
Yes, I mean, you look at a lot of players and you just look from the waist down. They call them bubble butts, right? And you see a kid that just has that, thighs, and they can move. And when you're able to have that lower body strength, when you're able to have that great balance as a runner, you're very tough to bring down.
Darius Latham getting another effort here. Darius is one of those guys that I don't know if he's reached his. I know he's not reached his potential yet.
Yeah, no question.
He is one of those guys that's got so much left in the tank if he can pull it out of there.
Right, and I think that's what we'll see when it comes down to individual workouts today, and that 15-minute span when these scouts have the opportunity to work him out, that's where he's going to have to make his money, because they're going to push him, and they're going to push him hard because there are questions about him. But that's okay. I think the ceiling, as you just mentioned, is quite high. He just has to be able to bring out the consistency. I think that's the question that he has to answer somewhat today.
I don't know what he weighs in right now, but he played at 300 pounds, 303, 304, someplace in there most of the time. He's such a big guy. He's so athletic. I mean, this guy played high school basketball and was terrific.
Right. And that's sometimes what happens with some bigger players. You know, they obviously, weight becomes a question mark. They have to really be able to maintain that. So if there have been any inconsistencies or fluctuations in that, you know, scouts are going to want to know about it. But really, I think for him, when you watch him, it's really about consistency. That's where he has to continue to grow. And we talked about, he's a young player. And we expect so much out of these young players to be mature, and they just have to continue to grow. And I think that's one of the things he'll be able to do in the next couple of years.
Darius Rayner taking his second 40 here this afternoon as these players continue in their 40-yard dash times. And anything new in the time department over there, Anthony?
Yeah, Fish, we have Jordan Howard coming in at a second time of 4.53, so both of his times in the low 4.5s, good solid times. We have Latham coming in at 5.08, so he shaved a little bit off, so that's good to see. But just to add on what you guys have been saying, I mean, Jordan Howard, like Howard says, he's an absolute gamer, and he just shows up. He doesn't talk. We call him the silent assassin because he just shows up ready to play.
For those who don't know, Anthony Corsaro was a tight end on the Indiana football team the last 4 years and knows all these guys intimately. And there's Jake Reed taking his second 40 time of the day. And I think the other thing, too, when you look at these guys and how much they've developed through their years here at Indiana, that's all been a very big positive. But the next level up is a whole different ball game. It's just like coming out of high school to college. It's why you see a kid in high school that can run for 200 yards a ball game and then doesn't get any calls from Division I schools. He goes to a Division II or a III or whatever. There's something that everybody's looking for, and the scouts here today are looking for something special.
Yeah, they are looking for, you know, guys that are going to be able to help their teams win. And these guys see thousands of players, watch thousands of hours of tape of players, and they know exactly what they're looking for. And you as a player are hoping that you have an opportunity to fit into one of those boxes, or be able to check off as many boxes as you possibly can as you go through this process.
There, of course, is Zach Shaw once again. Had a good time his first time. I think 4.7 is what Anthony reported to us. And we'll see if he improved his time any here this afternoon. Anthony, anybody surprise you on what they've been able to do today?
Not really. I mean, everyone put up good, solid times for the most part in the 40. Shaw just came in at another 4.71, so right up in the low 4.7s.
So that, I guess, was the last 40-yard dash time here today. Nate Sudfeld not running a second time down the track. So Indiana finishes up their 40 times for the Pro Scouts here today. All 32 teams represented here at Indiana University's 2016 Pro Day situation. And of course, from Indiana's perspective, a lot of these guys could be seeing time in the NFL this coming season. It'll be interesting to see how many of them actually do impress the scouts here this afternoon.
Yeah, it really will be.
All right, we're going to come back with more after this. Here in Mellencamp Pavilion, Indiana University Pro Day 2016. Howard Griffith is alongside. And right now we're about to see Pro Agility, Howard. Let's ask Anthony Corsaro what Pro Agility is all about. Anthony, can you explain it to us?
Yeah, Don, this is the Pro Agility drill. It's also known as the 5-10-5. You know, personally, I think this is a lot more important for the bigger guys because it's a measure of quickness versus speed. Your 40 is going to give you your straight line speed, but, you know, like Howard's mentioned earlier, if you're a bigger guy, that doesn't matter as much as how quick you are, how fast you get off the ball. So you want to post a low time here to just show your quickness and your ability to move and change directions.
So what are they going to do, actually? Are they going to run around some cones? Is that primarily it or not?
So they start in the middle, and you run 5 yards to the right or the left. You tap. You run the 10 yards back to the third cone, and then you come back through the middle. So it's a 5, a 10, and a 5.
Gotcha.
And I think one of the important things there, as you just saw the scout really kind of explaining what needs to happen. So they'll say you need to touch the line. So again, as we talked about the evaluation process, as Booker gets ready to run, do his agility, can you follow the directions, follow the instructions that were given? Is he touching the line if they've asked for that? So the little things, I think, are what really counts when you talk about doing these drill-specific drills.
And Andre Booker is our first combatant, so to speak. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think he'll be able to put up a much better time. You saw when he turned and finished, you saw a little slip there, and I think this will be a good time, but he'll be able to do better the second time around.
So do they, and again, can the athlete decide that he wants to do it a second time, or they give him a second opportunity?
If you're a competitor, you want to do it a second time, particularly if you didn't get it right the first time.
This is Michael Cooper, tight end at Indiana. Young man who transferred to the Hoosiers after his first year and did a tremendous job. And this young guy got in here, understood the system almost immediately, took to coaching. They did a terrific job.
That's what people want to know. Are you coachable?
This Jordan Howard. Got that lower body build, doesn't he?
Right, can explode out of those turns. Now we'll see the big fella Latham see what he's able to do with this drill.
I like his shoes. That's part of it today, isn't it?
Hey, one thing about, whether it's the combines or your pro days, these guys have, whatever the latest and greatest technology they can put on their feet, they put it on there.
And like Anthony said, see, he slipped.
Yeah, he slipped there, which is unfortunate. Hopefully he didn't hurt anything there. But even though he had the slip, you still would like to see him finish, right? You start something, you finish it. You don't, just because you stumble, you don't pull yourself out of that.
Kind of lost his balance. I'm not so sure those shoes were the best shoes to be wearing.
Right, so in that drill right there, when you start to lose your balance, you're a little top heavy. So you're starting to lean. You've got to really be able to sink those hips to be able to change direction.
There's a Darius Rayner, another big guy, defensive tackle. These guys are dealing with a little bit of a slippage issue.
Yeah, but that's what you got to get your body over the feet. You just can't reach out. You've got to be able to get your whole body there so you can really plant and explode out of there.
This is Jake Reed, big center. Pretty good job by Jake.
That's going to be a good time there, no doubt about it, because he was able to really manage his weight, keeping his weight over his feet, and really being able to plant and turn to get out of there.
Jake Reed came to Indiana as a tight end.
It's amazing, man.
Turns into a center.
That's the dangerous thing about being a tight end. You see, you're a couple of meals away from putting your hand in the ground permanently.
That's true. I've seen a lot of tight ends turn into offensive guys, defensive guys, and all of them are linemen.
Right.
They're no longer catching the football. That was Zach Shaw. Here's your quarterback, Nate Sudfeld. Anthony, any times down there to remark on?
Yeah, Jordan Howard coming in at a 4.25. I think that's a pretty solid time.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask Howard for his opinion.
Yeah, that really is a good time. He's just got to continue to, I think he can better that the second time around. One of the keys to this drill, as we've mentioned, you've seen some guys slip a little bit, but really be able to keep your weight over your feet. And you have a tendency in a drill like this to reach with your foot, thinking that you can be quicker doing that, but you're really not. It's about getting your feet to that spot and then being able to change direction and come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a technique to it, correct?
It's a technique to everything. And that's one of the things, we look at these drills and guys are able to put up numbers, but these are also things that they can work on. Things that if you're working with a trainer or a pro day or whoever it may be, getting you prepared, they're really training for these drills. So it's not so much football, because if you repetition, you're doing it over and over and over again, you are able to really master what the skill is of running that type of a shuttle.
If you don't finish a drill, what does that tell a scout?
It's you don't finish. I mean, the way you may interpret that, the way you interpret and the way I interpret it may be two different things. I may have some serious questions if I see someone not finish the drill. I may even be able to take that further. Well, he struggled a little bit. He didn't finish. What does that mean as far as when he goes through, has to deal with some adversity? So that, remember, we talked about always being able to finish. You're always being evaluated, and you don't know what people are going to be saying or what they're going to take from not finishing a drill.
Do we have Anthony, do you have something for us?
Yeah, Jake Reed coming in with a 4.44. That's really, really good for a big guy like that. But looks like we're done with pro agility. We're going to move into the 3-cone drill. Very similar to pro agility, all about quickness, all about changing directions, really getting your hips through the drill.
All right, well, the cone drill, obviously, pretty self-explanatory. Again, it's about quickness here. And this is Andre Booker.
You want to try to stay as tight to those cones as possible. Obviously, that's going to save you some time. You don't want to get too wide. But again, just what Booker's been able to do and what we've seen him, he's going to put some nice numbers up, and I think he's going to be very satisfied with what he was able to do, at least up to this particular point.
Now, does his size factor in? I mean, he's not a tall guy.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why all the other measurables have to be off the charts, right? Because you may not have the ideal measurables as far as what they're looking for, but then all of a sudden, as they continue to move across that sheet, and you look at the 40 and you look at the different measurables, you say, oh, wait a minute, well, there's something here. So it causes them to want to investigate even more and want to get more knowledge about it.
I mean, you can play a wide receiver spot and be a small guy. I mean, guys have proven that. The guy that proved it as good for me as anybody was Antoine Randall,
Absolutely.
who never played wide receiver outside of one ball game in college, which was a mistake. But besides that, but Antoine was a guy who transitioned to a receiver and was just phenomenal at the NFL level.
Yeah, high football IQ jumps off the page when you talk about him and his ability and his willingness to do whatever it took. See, for him, and I think he'd say this, his desire to play in the National Football League was greater than his desire to be a quarterback in the National Football League. So with that being said, he was willing to make that adjustment, right, and learn that position. This is really good.
Wow.
I don't even need to know the time to know that
was
good, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Andre has been very impressive in his workout today so far. No question about it. Andre Booker out of Chesterfield, Missouri. And now Jordan Howard. You always want to see what the guys with those big legs and big thighs can do in a drill like this.
As you watched him the first couple, it didn't seem like he got up to full speed. I don't think this time may not be as good as his first. But again, he's a big guy that can move the body around, and he's going to continue to have opportunities. There's no doubt about that, because you turn the tape on and it speaks for itself. He's one of those kind of guys that I don't get enamored with numbers here. I just turn the tape on. If he's going to be healthy, he's a guy that can help your football team.
Anthony, any numbers to talk about?
Yeah, so Andre actually hit a cone his first try, so he had to go again. He came in at a 6.81, so I think that's a pretty solid time. Michael Cooper coming in at a 7.2.
Okay. And this is Darius Latham. Now, this to me looks like a pretty good effort by a big guy.
Yeah, it's a good effort. Yeah. You'd like to see him a little lower, but it's still outstanding effort. He was able to went out and finished, and I'm sure it's not the numbers that he's going to want. If you look at the body language that he has right here, you see him to put his hand on his hamstring. Hopefully that's feeling good for him and he's not able to pull out. But you get these big guys going around these cones. That's what you want to see him go out and compete. And that's what this is about. You're still competing.
This is a Darius Rayner.
Now again, I think they both could improve on their times getting around the cones. It looks a little stiff, but what I see when I watch this drill versus the shuttle earlier is that they're lower, as they come around. The bigger guys had that tendency to lean a lot more, but you saw them look a lot more athletic doing that particular drill than the drill before.
I was just going to say, they look like they're doing a much better job in that drill. This is Jake Reed, starting center for the Indiana football team this past season.
See, I can't wait to get Coach Frey up here because, see, this is all those little agility drills that he has them doing, running through tires, going through the ropes, all of the stuff they have the little guys going through. It's showing up. You can see that when you watch the big guys run through their drills.
And you can hear the reaction in the background to their teammates that are watching them out there.
And that's a big part of it, having the support of your teammates. And that's why we talked about when you're at home, these guys are at home having an opportunity to perform in front of their teammates and, have that support and that drive.
This is Zach Shaw, kind of had a little slippage there. Defensive end, or bandit, as Indiana calls him. You can almost tell he's not pleased because he slipped a little bit. He knows he slipped a little bit, and I'm not happy.
Right. Off to having a good time there. He would have had a really nice one. And, they'll take that into account, but it's continuing to get better. We talked about competing. In this situation, you're really competing against all the other, whether it's a defensive end, whether it's a center, whether it's a quarterback, that are all out there vying for an opportunity to play in the National Football League. It's always going to be tough, but you got to continue to compete.
There's Jason Spriggs, who has probably been as impressive not only in the pro day workout here today, but at the combine. He had great numbers at the combine itself.
And he's one of those guys, and he's lean, but they'll continue to get better and grow as a player at that next level. And I think he's going to be fun to watch, and one of those guys you can look up and 10 years down the line he's still playing because his feet, you can't teach the feet that he has. You can get stronger, but when you have those type of feet, and his ability to really play that position, those guys are hard to find.
Nate Sudfeld, looks like he had a decent cone drill there.
Yeah, but even he wants to be better. Everybody wants to be better, but his time's coming up. Individual workouts, that's when he starts to throw football around a little bit, that's when he's going to be exciting.
Anthony, any times that are noteworthy?
Yeah, we got Spriggs coming in at a 7.37, and I believe his combine time was 7.7, so that's a great improvement for him. I mean, when you talk about a guy like him, he's just an absolute physical specimen. He's a great worker, and his maturity that he's shown all the way from starting as a true freshman, just being around him is very impressive.
You said earlier, and I think we were probably not on air at the time, that he had an incredible vertical improvement in his vertical leap.
Yeah, he actually went from a 31, is he a 31 or a 31 and a half, all the way to a 35 today, so that's a great improvement. Scouts will love to see that.
That's 4 inches.
Being comfortable.
Combine was in February. That's 4 inches in, a month and a half. Of course, there could have been other factors involved with that, too, because you were jacked up for that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But, it just shows the willingness to continue to get better. And you put up great numbers at the combine. Now, all of a sudden, you didn't take that time off. You wanted to continue to build on it. And, again, you're always evaluating everything that these young men are doing.
And Andre Booker taking another shot at the cone drill. Oh, this is a little bit different. This is the 60-yard shuttle. My apology. This is absolutely a different drill than we saw earlier. And talk a little bit about the 60-yard shuttle. Did you ever do this, Howard?
We didn't do the 60-yard shuttle. This is a shuttle. This is something that's new. But again, I think they all want to be able to see change of direction and then speed, change of direction and speed. And I think that's what they're attempting to get out of this 60-yard shuttle here.
These guys are all in tremendous physical shape. And this is Michael Cooper.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Finish. Finish through.
Again, change your directions as quickly as you possibly can and be able to accelerate, get up to top speed.
He wasn't known to be a huge pass catcher. He didn't have great numbers in that area, but he has excellent hands. But his strength is as a lineman or as an additional lineman, because tight ends are that. Although he played a lot of H-back and all those kinds of things too, but very versatile tight end.
And I think that's important because as you look at the evolution as tight ends continue to grow, I think there's more of a need. They want to put guys in position where they can catch the ball out of the backfield, whether they can use them in an H-back position. But when you can find a tight end from day one that can be an inline blocker, that can put his hand in the ground, I think that's really important to have, and that's one of those things that he has in his tool chest that he'll be able to use if need be.
Well, apparently we are completed with the performance testing. A lot more to come here on this 2016 Pro Day at Indiana University here at Mellencamp Pavilion. Welcome back to IU Pro Day 2016 here at Mellencamp Pavilion on the campus of Indiana University, and we're joined by running backs coach Deland McCullough. And Deland, welcome to the show. And obviously you've got a guy that's going to perform here for the Pro Scouts and Jordan Howard.
Thank you very much, and we're excited to see what he's going to do. I know what he's going to do, but we're excited for everybody else to see.
Talk a little bit about this young man, and of course you've just coached him for 1 year. He transferred from UAB. He was special down there. He was really special here at Indiana.
Well, I mean, the big thing is, I mean, Jordan is a relationship person, and you got to get to know him, in order to push the right buttons to make him perform. And he's somebody who's driven, and he's going to do well with that. But again, it was exciting during the recruiting process. His whole family is here. I know all of those guys, and to see this dream that he's had all his life on the verge of happening, it's exciting to be part of it.
You had an opportunity to watch him on film, obviously, at UAB, but when you got here, what were you shocked by, if anything?
Probably how powerful he was, because during the recruiting process, I told him some of the things I wanted to improve on with him, as far as running more violent, lower pad level, different things like that. And he came here and he took on that challenge, and again, it wasn't for him to be in the shadow of Tevin Coleman, but it was just to say, hey, Coach, I know what you did with Tevin. Can you take me to that same level as far as preparation and technique? And that's some things we were able to accomplish during this time here.
Obviously you said he was a relationship type guy. What did you have to do to build that relationship with him? Was it difficult?
No, I mean, it's not difficult for me. He's kind of introverted a little bit, and when I'm not in this type of venue, I am too. So I mean, we mesh real good. But again, he needs to know that you trust him, or that you're trustworthy and that you're sincere, and was able to hit it off with him as far as that's concerned, and it's been good. It's been real good.
Did he have that? He had obviously lower body strength when he got here. But he's a different kind of running back in that sense. Did he build on that when he got here?
Definitely. When he came, I talked about, because I seen all the cut-ups of all his runs before he got here. So I talked to him about what my analysis was of that, as far as, being a punisher, being more violent, having more velocity, and really maximizing his strengths. Talked about having lower pad level. Even as the season went on, we started talking about alternative moves because people started coming after him at his legs, and we talked about spin moves and even hurdling. We got to see the fruits of that labor with Divine, because we had worked on that, and Jordan got hurt, but we continued to work on that as running backs, and Divine did it against Purdue. But just giving him alternative things in his toolbox to make him even more effective in the open field.
He did deal with some injuries, and was he able to overcome those issues for the most part?
Yes. The first one he had, to me, was kind of flukish in that, a guy just fell into his legs against Ohio State, and then, he kind of battled the meniscus throughout the year, and it just got to a point where it was kind of unbearable, but tough kid, wanted to keep playing, came back in against Ohio State, when he probably shouldn't have, as far as how he felt.
Right.
He was like, I want to come out and help the team, and then came back and performed admirably against Michigan State, and then put together a few more real good games.
Yeah, I think it's no question when you turn the film on, you see what type of player he is. But when those coaches or scouts are calling you and they have questions, what are some of the things that they want to see him improve on, or they want to confirm with you as a guy that spent a lot of time with him?
Well, I mean, people want to see, can he handle the rigors of NFL football? How tough is he? All I do is talk to his time against when we played Ohio State. He wanted to get back in there. He came back. He was diligent in his rehab so he can get back and help the football team. Also just his his endurance and different things like that. So seeing how he performs here and takes on a 15-minute. Seemed like a 15-minute marathon is how I was feeling like, here going through these drills. So, I mean, he's going to be fine. Very smart, super coachable, a model citizen on and off the field, from a great family, great stock. So I expect him to have a great NFL career.
Deland, what does he have to work on for the next level?
If the biggest thing, I know somebody asked me earlier, I said if Jordan had remained here, we would work on his knee drive, just getting his feet up more. He got tripped up, a little bit too much as the season went on. So that probably would be the biggest thing. Probably even in pass protection, more separation. Now he's a big, strong guy, and what he used to do is not really get a lot of separation because he felt like I'm strong enough to take on guys. But that would be probably the other thing. But the fact that he's willing to take on guys is a huge plus. But that would be something we would work on, his leg drive and probably more separation and pass protection.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's key when you're evaluating these running backs, particularly to go to the next level, is you want to get them into a position where they can be good pass protectors. You want to do that even at the college level. But as you mentioned, the strength, he's so strong, right? The lower body, he can latch onto a guy and he ain't going anywhere.
He ain't going nowhere.
So it's really continuing to grow. And I think when you evaluate players that are good at some things, sometimes when they know that they can be strong, be able to control a guy, they may not work as much at it at that particular point. But as they continue to go through this evaluation process, you just see you have to continue to get better. And to me, he's a guy that can do all of those things.
No doubt. And we talked about, just improving things as far as expressing plays and just being a big finisher, even in practice. Things that he wasn't accustomed to doing before he came here. So it was just pushing those buttons and saying, look, if you want to do what you want to do for yourself personally, not only personally but for this team, here's the things that you need to do. Now, he hadn't done them in the past, but he did it here.
Well, Deland, thanks very much for joining us. Great insights into Jordan Howard. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Deland McCullough, running backs coach for Indiana football. And we're going to have a couple of other changes here in a moment, and we will come back with more of the IU Pro Day. Welcome back once again to 2016 IU Pro Day here at Indiana University at Mellencamp Pavilion. And now we're joined by Indiana's offensive line coach, Greg Frey. Coach, welcome to the show. Obviously, you got some guys that we are doing well, and we got some guys in your group that are pretty solid citizens here.
Yeah, they're doing good. Jason, Jake Reed, both great players for us. Really good people. Both having good days from what I understand, so, from the things they're doing. So it's been fun to watch, and it's always fun to watch one of you guys chase their dream.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what this is about. This is, dreams are made and dreams are broke. And so when they're doing well and you see them participate and go, it's always fun.
Jason Spriggs has been special for your program, has it not?
Yeah, Jason and Dan Feeney really – they signed with us and came into us when we didn't have a lot to sell, honestly. And so now recruiting, you gotta plan. You say, hey, look, here's what we did, and look what these guys have accomplished and what they were able to do, and so yeah, he's been great. He's been a stalwart right there at the left tackle position, and here's doing some pass punch deals, and so it's it's been great to watch him and see him go, and he's still young. He's only 21. You don't turn 22 till May. How about that? Huh? How about that, right?
And I tell you, I think a lot of times people don't understand what the difference between a 21-year-old guy and a 23-24. Just how much better he'll be as he continues to grow.
No question.
But, you know, I was teasing earlier about your offensive line. You know, I talk to you every year about
absolutely.
this. They're going through the little agility drills like they're DBs or something, but you see that stuff really show up in some of the drills they did earlier. And this is more offensive line stuff here, but having great feet is a must for an offensive line, correct?
Right, absolutely. And you know, so it's one of those things. You know, I was fortunate enough in my days to face some good athletes and know that, hey, you got to have foot quickness, you got to be able to dance with them guys, and so, you know, we do those things to break it up, just to build a little bit of balance. You know, Coach Munchak and them guys are working, and you know, it's all about balance, it's all about moving my feet, it's about staying in the core, doing those things, and so we try to do that. And I'll watch other people go through the drills, the little linebacker drill here, a little bit of DB drill there. Just, you know, keep it interesting, keep them believe in their athletes. That's the big thing. You know, if they believe their athletes, they try to play a little faster, play a little bit better.
What are some of the questions that scouts are having for Spriggs at this point? I know he's young and there's stuff he can grow with. When they come to you and they're asking, you know, as you coached him, you've been around him, what are some of the things that he needs to be able to do?
You know, really, you know, some of the – he'll go and, like the Bears coach was talking today, he said, hey, I watched him at the Senior Bowl, and he really just dominated one-on-ones. And you know, carrying that over to the game and you know, putting it within a scheme, and how does he learn, and how does he adapt, and, you know, those type of deals. Because, you know, pretty much everyone knows the story. He was a tight end in high school. Mm-hmm. Came in and 18 days on campus, or 15 days on campus, he's starting left tackle for the next 4 years. And so he was 258 pounds. And so, you know, it's one of those deals where it's like, hey, you know, watching him develop and go, and then, you know, he didn't come from a program. He was playing basketball, he was doing track, and some of those things in Indiana. And so, you know, really to put together the whole thing, he's been here 3.5 years, going on 4 years, and so, you know, really it's about just his upside. That, hey, you know, he hasn't scratched the surface. You know, I mean, when you think about it, 3.5 years, how much, you know, he's probably spent more time in study hall and classes than he has on the football field.
Right.
And so it's, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, as they go, they you know, hey, how does he learn? How does he work? How does he, you know, is he, you know, what's his ego like? How's he, you know, can he handle tough coaching? Can he handle, you know, the stress of playing in front of fans? Right. You know, all those things. You know, just normal questions, but it's been nice to watch him go and answer the questions, and all the coaches at the end of it come back and say, Coach, I see what you're talking about. You know, and so it's fun. And you see D-Mac here, our strength coach. He's winded.
Greg, well, you have Jake Reed. Mm-hmm. He was a tight end when he came here as well, from Columbus, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Not the greatest athlete in the world. It doesn't play a lot of minutes in the first 2 or 3 years he's at Indiana, and all of a sudden he blossoms into your starting center. Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing story in itself.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing is trying to find yourself. You know, Jake, when he came in, you know, like you said, he played tight end. They moved over to defense, and then finally we were watching him. You know, me and Coach Wilson saw him play. I said, hey, let's move him over here and see what he can do. And so, you know, just watching him develop, watching him grow. You know, really what you're looking for, you know, because we're a little bit of a, you know, we're an up-tempo offense, we're an athletic offense. And so as an offensive lineman, you come in here, you know, our guards aren't 340 pounds. You know, so in a good way, that translates very well for the NFL, because, you know, it's like, you know, the coaches are saying, hey, he's going to have a little bit more than 14 seconds to figure out, you know, in our league, you know. So you know, as they go to see Jake, you know, come in as an athlete, find a place for him as center. I played a little left guard for us, and then, like I said, Jason coming in from day one as a left tackle. It was an opportunity where you get some athletic kids on the field and really allow them to do what they do well. They're good athletes. They're good, you know, good. Mm-hmm. They play multiple sports.
Sure.
Let's go do that. And so, you know, developing them and bringing them along. And like I said, I'd love to have had Jason for a 5th year. But yeah, I don't think the NCAA will let us do that. So.
That would be an advantage.
Yeah.
Now, these drills that they're doing now, this is stuff that they've done before, that you've had them doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, we actually start practice off with a drill very similar to this. It's working on its hips, working on explosion, lining up the elbows, the hands, seeing the eyes come through, you know, unleashing, you know, a little bit of the power. You know, when you're talking the NFL level, it's a whole different animal. You know, I mean, you know, we face this is a line of scrimmage league, offensive line, defensive line. You're facing first-round picks and those things. Well, so the nice part is when you get to the NFL, you've already faced those guys. The difference is when you get there, it's like, hey, these guys are 8-9-year vets, and they're the best at what they do in the world. And so, what they're trying to see there is just, hey, how does he unleash his hips? What's the power like? Can he set the punch? You're going against Von Miller in the Super Bowl. It's that ain't easy. And so it's it's one of those things where these drills are just to get a feel for how they move, how they listen, are they locked in, just the whole package.
There's an intellect involved in being an offensive lineman, and I don't mean that in a negative way or a positive way, either one. It's just a fact of life. You've got to be pretty smart to play the offensive line, do you not?
Absolutely. There's two positions where you're working backwards on what you're doing, playing corner and playing, offensive line. And so being able to pick up blitzes, to see coverages, to see slants, from the big picture of an umbrella of a coverage to the little thing of, hey, he's leaning in his stance, and process it all in 10, 12, 14 seconds, and then how it pertains to how you're trying to block. So it's an A to B to C to D in a split second. And so it's one of those deals where you got to see things, you got to do it, and there's people relying on you. The running backs and quarterbacks, and Nate Sudfeld and Jordan, who are really doing great today, but they're relying on the fact that, hey, you're processing that info real quick. And
how important is communications too? It's important for the game, but for those guys to really be able to come to the sideline and give you feedback, or give the guard or the center feedback on what they're seeing, so that you guys can come together and communicate or come up with a game plan.
Yeah, it's huge. And obviously the more intelligent, the more football savvy the guy is, the better it is for me. Talking with a Dan Feeney, hey, he gets it. Hey, coach, they were in a bear, that 3 technique hit out. It's detailed. You talk to some freshmen, it's and so now you're going up to the box. Right. Hey, what'd you see? And so when you're talking with older guys, Jason, Dan, these guys that get a feel for it, they know it, they understand it, and it's very much so. You take a Wes Martin, who was a freshman last year, played in between Jake Reed and Jason Spriggs. Well, his life is easier because those guys understand the game. They know the calls. They see where it's supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. So the communication level amongst them is huge. Yeah, it's a big thing we're working on in spring right now with our guys that we got coming back for next year is, hey, communicate, talk. Don't hold it to yourself. And, especially those young guys, they're so consumed with what they're doing, they forget their piece in 11 players on offense.
Are these scouts actually having these guys do some things that they want to see them do? Is that what they're doing right now?
Yeah, a lot of it being explosive, a lot of it being athletic, and a lot of it being balance. You get knocked around as an offensive lineman, and what they want to see is the ability to maintain contact while getting knocked around and run my feet and keep my head up and bend in a posture, and can they take sort of what we've molded here and develop them into what they need them to be, because in essence that's what this is about, is, hey, can that guy do what we need him to do? And so they know Jason and Jake can do what we need them at Indiana. The question is, can he do what the Bears needs him, or with the with coach from the Steelers, Coach Munchak. So.
As far as the positioning of a player, let's say Jason Spriggs comes to Indiana as he did as a tight end, how do you determine that this kid probably ought to need to be moved to this position, or a guard moved to tackle, or a tackle moved to the center position? How do you determine that?
Well, I watched Jason drop balls as a tight end, and I knew right then. I said, hey,
right?
You know what? He can't catch, so coach, bring him down here to this board drill. Actually, it's funny. Coach Hagan just came back and joined us, and Coach Hagan and I recruited Jason and Dan. It was his area, my position, and so we worked very well in recruiting those guys and scouting them and seeing them. And so, it's one of those things when he came down and did the tight end drills, we were like, hey, bring him down here. And even some other coaches on the staff, he's 252, can he get, but just seeing his frame, knowing how he loves, Jason loving the weight room, he'll fit into whatever position they're going to want him, right, left, guard. He can even snap. People don't realize that. He can long snap. He can center snap. He didn't have to do it for us, but he could. He was actually a second-team snapper his first year here. because we didn't know if we had Dooley,
Sure.
and that was it. And if he got hurt, then who were we going to do? Well, Jason was the one working with the long snapper. So, just getting those athletic guys and playing them. We got some guys that we signed this year that, hey, if they're not starting for me, they may go over to tight end. Sort of like Brandon Knight did last year.
Right.
Played last 6 games of the season as a backup tight end, coming in off there, caught a touchdown against Purdue, and now he's shifting back to left tackle and getting him on the field, because it's about being an athlete, being a big athlete, being a guy that gets after it and has a mentality that we want.
Yeah, and one of the things I keep hearing, a common theme here, is that he played a lot of basketball, right? So it means he's got some feet on him. And all of a sudden, we talked about those guys, drop a couple of footballs, spend a little too much time at the training table, got that hand in the ground.
I encourage it. My wife Andrea makes these Thursday burritos that have become sort of legendary, and I keep feeding the defensive line and the tight ends them, and they think they're doing it because I like it. I'll try to bulk them up, see if I can get them, get them over that 290-pound thing. So Coach Wilson sends them down to me. But yeah, no, it's what you want to see is really you want to see guys. You don't know where you're going to fit. Jason, I know they're projecting him as a left tackle, Dan as a right guard, Jake as a center. All those are projections. When it comes down to it, he's going to can he help whatever team drafts him win? And that's what this is about, and that's what today's about, and that's when they came to Indiana. Jason would have played anything, but for us, we were like, hey, it's a. We want you to play left tackle. We're bringing you in there, and we didn't have a guy. Andrew McDonald had just left, and he's still playing in the NFL as well. And so it's it's one of those deals where it's like, hey, these guys will fit multiple areas, multiple deals, multi-sport athletes, that type of thing.
Greg, we appreciate you dropping by, talking about your players. Obviously, you've got a couple of good ones there, and I know you got a bunch of coming back for next year too.
Yeah, we got a shot. Like I say, the biggest signee I got was Dan Feeney. When he decided to come back, man, everything's. As a matter of fact, I think I lost a scholarship that day. Coach Wilson went from signing 4 to signing 3 on that day. But Dan's been awesome. He's been a leader since day one. He's watching these drills. He'll be here next year doing this. So he's awesome. Dimitri Camille is one that's sort of flown under the radar, a right tackle who's been a couple of year starter. So got those guys coming, and Wes Rogers is a senior, and Jacob Bailey, those 4 fifth-year seniors. And then we mixing them in with some younger guys that are talented. So hopefully, everybody, knock on wood, everybody's continues doing what they're doing. They keep buying into the room, and I think good things are ahead. So
good.
So we'll
Thank
see.
you, Greg. Appreciate your being with us, and we'll continue our 2016 Pro Day here at Indiana University after these messages. Welcome back to Indiana Pro Day 2016 here at Indiana University, here in the Mellow Camp Pavilion. We're joined by defensive line coach Mark Hagan. And Mark, of course, has been at Indiana as a player, as a coach. But Mark, of course, is one of our favorites, and from Indiana himself, from Carmel. And Mark, welcome back.
Great to be back, Don. Like we were talking off camera for a few minutes, it's been fast and furious, but a lot of fun. It's awesome to be home, and I say we're about halfway through spring practice, and things are going well. There hasn't been any downtime, to say the least, trying to get up to speed with everything, so it's been good.
Well, awesome to have you back, obviously. And I know you got a couple of kids here in Pro Day today, both Darius Rayner and Darius Latham, 2 guys that are really trying to work out to become or make it to the next level. Talk a little bit about these 2 kids that you're aware of.
Well, Darius actually played for me when I was here before, and was obviously a young guy, and certainly a big body. He's got some athleticism inside, and had a good, solid career. And I know he's had a good day so far with the testing part of it. It'll be good to watch him go through the drills a little bit. Latham was a young man that we recruited. He was kind of coming in when I was leaving to go to A&M, and obviously Darius was an excellent athlete in high school, a dual sport guy that certainly could do a lot of different things, and has had a good, solid career, a very good career up to this point. Love to have him coming back. Selfishly, would love to be working with him next fall, but both young men have really distinguished themselves and had good careers here. Zach Shaw is another young man that's working out, and Zach is a guy that had been a linebacker In high school when he came here, we moved him to DN, and then he's kind of been that hybrid guy, for the past couple of years. So I know all three guys are hoping to give a good showing today and love to get into camp and see what the next level holds for all three of them.
And, Coach, a lot of times they're going through some bag drills here, and that's really to show the hips, right?
Absolutely.
See if they can get around those bags.
Absolutely. No, the common mistake you see with a lot of people with the pop-up bags is they want to turn their hips before they get there. And what I think scouts and pro coaches are looking for is to see how close you can get to that bag and then flip your hips. That's really what happens when you're rushing the quarterback is you've got to close that distance down and then get your body in position, with the hips and the feet and get in position. Now when you work your move, whether it's a rip or I call it a jab now instead of a swim, you got to get your body in position as you break down that offensive lineman. So this is a common drill with a lot of defensive line coaches. Again, close that distance down as fast as you can as you work that club, working the hips and the feet to get in position, then to work that move on the quarterback.
Are the hips as important as any other part of your body in regard to being a defensive lineman?
Well, I think the hips are one of the biggest qualities that people are looking for when you recruit a defensive lineman. It's easy to have that straight line speed, but you got to have guys again that can open their hips up and put their body in position to finish, and that's really separates a good D lineman from a great D lineman is the hips.
How much of a factor is obviously the agility drills do help you, but do you not have to have that innate physical being to be able to move those hips? I mean, hips are not something anybody talks about. We're exercising, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. No, there's lots of drills you can do to try to loosen your hips up and to work on that change of direction, and a lot of it's God-given, and then you add to the fact that some guys can really test well and maybe get better at the 5-10-5 shuttle or some of these bag type drills to show that you've got looser hips, but really it boils down to how do your hips look when you're playing the game, and it's one thing again to test and do certain things, but then it's putting it all together and going out and executing it and being able to do it on a live body. Easier said than done. So, but again, I think athleticism, whatever position you're talking about, is so important across the board. Even with, I think back in the day, you talk your O-line, your D-line guys, it was all about, being a big, physical, tough guy. But we're all looking for speed and athleticism. And I think you can say that at every position. So D-line's no different. It's the guys, again, that are big and strong, number one, but then have the ability to maneuver, have the feet, have the hips, have the athleticism to put themselves in position, to make those plays, especially behind the line of scrimmage, whether it's tackles for loss or sacks.
You talk about these guys auditioning for the next level. But talk a little bit about the guys you've had the opportunity to work with over the last couple of weeks that you're excited about coaching this upcoming season.
Well, obviously, we mentioned some of these guys that are leaving us, but we've got some good players coming back. Ralph Green, another young man that I was around my first year here, recruited Ralph out of San Antonio. He's played some good football here at Indiana. He's a guy that I think the whole group we're going to lean on. Nate Hoff, who's going to be a junior for us. I know had an outstanding freshman campaign 2 years ago, leveled off a little bit last year. I told Nate from day one, we got to get you playing like you did 2 years ago. I think you've got some young guys in there, the Robert McCrays, that started to come on last year. The Jacob Robinsons, those type guys that are a little bit younger but can be, really good football players for us. And then this defense the past couple of years has been more of a 3-4 type of defense. So now who's going to be that fourth D lineman, that open side defensive end? And you're talking guys like Niles Sykes, Greg Gooch, are guys that really have to put their hand down now full time instead of being kind of a hybrid guy, first and second down, or maybe standing up or in the ground, but they're backing off and playing a little bit of linebacker too. We may do some of those concepts with them, but they're primarily defensive ends now. So we've got enough talent. We may have to get creative at times in how we move these guys around, and maybe sometimes our bigger ends may have to move inside and create some pass rush for us. But that's one of the joys of coaching. It's you know, it'd be if you just had great talent across the board, it'd be too easy and everybody do it. But that's one of the challenges and joys of coaching, is trying to figure out how all the parts work together, and work those different combinations. They've been working their butt off. We're trying to set that standard, you know, really, really high, and that's what's great about working with Tom, is he's so passionate, got great energy about him, and our players are buying in. It's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to building this process and working to move forward.
Mark, thanks for joining us. Mark Hagan,
thanks,
defensive line coach for this Indiana football team. We're going to come back with more right after this. Pro Day 2016 here at Indiana University, here in Mellencamp Pavilion, and joining us on our show today is the new defensive coordinator for this Indiana football team, Tom Allen. Tom, first of all, welcome again to Indiana University. We've said that to you a couple times now.
Yes, yeah.
But I know you're excited about this situation that you're in right now with this football team.
Well, thank you once again. Yeah, very excited. My voice is a little hoarse from practice, but that's okay.
No, you're not yelling at the kids,
no,
are you?
No,
you're not screaming, are you?
But right in the heat of our spring ball. But as I've always said, it's great to be home and a very exciting time for us. So we're just trying to get better every day.
Coach, you got a couple of 3 young men here that are from the defensive line that are not going to be here for your football team, but these guys I know you're familiar with these guys and what they've been able to do at IU.
No question. You know, they great players, you know, and watched them on film. Really didn't know them that well. Recruited Darius when I was at another school, and so know that he was obviously a great player in high school, and saw him come here and do great things. But the other guys I didn't really personally know, but you see them on film, watching the cut-ups and everything, and just guys that play really hard, do the things they're asked to do, and you're going to miss them here. You know, other guys got to step up, but you know, this pro day is a special day for them. You know, opportunity to be able to showcase their talents and all the hard work they put in here. So we're proud of them and wish them nothing but the best.
Well, Coach, let's talk about a little bit about what you've seen thus far, because I think from my perspective, what Coach Wilson has been able to do with this roster since he's shown up has been outstanding. And I think you have an opportunity to work with these guys each and every day as far as spring ball is concerned. What are you seeing, and how excited are you about working with them? You
know, I see a group of guys that are hungry. You know, we talk about that a lot with our players. We're developing an edge with them, but they've recruited guys here that can run, you know, and guys that I think are right now have shown me they're willing to do little things right. They're real coachable. They're listening really, really well to the new system, and to me that's a big part of it. You know, being able to get guys to buy in. We talk about that. You know, Coach challenged me to come here and change the culture, you know, on our side of the football, and we talk a lot about what that means and how that's defined, and we want to create, you know, change that's sustainable. And when you do that, you got to change something that you do every single day. And so we're in the process of changing those habits and changing the way we do things, and going to get a different product, and that's our objective.
Is there something, I mean, obviously you teach the 4-2-5, and Indiana's been playing the 3-4. Last year, really more 4-3, in my opinion, but it was a 3-4. But how much of a difference is this scheme compared to what Indiana's been playing?
You know, when teams spread you out, not a lot in terms of how it looks. I think there's a couple key positions that are probably quite a bit different in how we play them compared to the traditional systems that you see. But at the end of the day, when teams spread you out, you know, you're going to take that, whether you're a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 4-3 outside linebacker, you're going to put him out in space. And we replace that guy with what we call a Husky. You know, and so, but that kid's got to be a tough, physical guy that can play the run and the pass. No different than a linebacker. Maybe a little more athletic in some situations, but I feel like that we've got, you know, a lot of good safeties to fit those roles. You know, we recruited several in this class and had several already here, young group in the back end. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's as big a difference as most people might think. It's more 4-3 for sure, but it's just good, hard-nosed football.
Coach, is there anything that surprised you about this defensive unit that you've taken over that you didn't see on film?
Yeah, I think we have more guys that can run and play in space than maybe my perception was from watching them. You know, and I really didn't, in all fairness to them, I didn't watch a lot, you know, and I haven't dwelt a lot on the past when I've been here as far as why we did it more just to evaluate personnel to get them in the right spots. But I do think that as I've seen them out on the field working with them, I think we got a lot of guys that, to me, it's about just having confidence. playing with that confidence. And I think that allows you to play a step quicker. I think it allows you to, sometimes you miss tackles, but it's because you're out of position. You might be a step slow up here because of your maybe thinking too much or you're in a bad spot. It's not because you can't run. And so to me, I've been encouraged by that, because at the end of the day, you got to make plays in space. That's the way the game is now being played by our offenses, and we got to match that. So I've been encouraged, but man, you can't replace the power of the heart and the want to. And I think right now it's a strong piece for our guys, and they want to see things differently on our side of the ball, and that's the challenge. And we're not going to let them let up until that's what we get.
Well, Coach, everything that I've seen for the practices I've watched and everything, I'm really encouraged on the kind of enthusiasm these guys are playing with that was different than it has been the last few years.
Well, I know one way to do it. That is full speed, 100 miles an hour. I'm going to coach that way. We're going to play that way. And we're going to attack for 60 minutes.
Coach, thanks so much.
All right, appreciate it.
Tom Allen, our
Pleasure
guest
meeting you.
on the Pro Day here at Mellencamp Pavilion, and we're going to come back in just a couple of moments with another guest right after this. Welcome back once again to 2016 Pro Day here at Indiana University at Mellencamp Pavilion. And Kevin Johns has joined us, the quarterbacks coach for this Indiana football team. And, Coach, welcome to the show, first of all. And your guy's working out there right now, Nate Sudfeld.
He is. Awful proud of him. I know today's a big day for him, and I know he's ready to go, and we'll do a great job.
Obviously, you've had a chance to work with Nate for 4 seasons now. Tell us a little bit about his qualities and what he brings to the table.
Number one, he absolutely loves football, and he's willing to work and do whatever it takes to make himself a big-time player. He's a team guy. He's done everything we've asked him to do to lead this team, to lead summer voluntary workouts. And he's only gotten better just through his work ethic. Coming in, he was a kid that always had great size, but just needed to develop his body and get stronger, improve his footwork, and he's done those things. And awful excited for him. He's done some great things. Leading as the all-time leading passer in school history. And just very proud of him. I know he's going to do a great job at the next level.
Without question, he brings a lot to the table. He's got that physical size that the NFL likes. He's a traditional drop-back type passer. But the thing that has impressed me about him as he's gone along is that he's developed all of the throws, all of the little touch throws, the accuracy downfield throws. He's got all of those tools, and he's developed them as he's been here in Indiana.
No, he does. And I think, some guys have asked me, what are his weaknesses? Well, when it comes to throwing the football, I believe he can make all the throws. He can put the ball in the right hash and throw it to the field and throw the field speed out, which is a big-time throw. He does know how to put touch on the ball. And you know what? If there's something that he's not good at, he'll perfect it. He'll work on it until he's got it down pat. And, again, to his credit, he did a phenomenal job during his career here, getting the guys going out on their own without us coaches being around and just getting that chemistry and that timing down pat. He's come a long way, but, again, I know his best days are still in front of him.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things here is as we watch him get going and start to make some throws, spending a lot of time under center, looks very comfortable there. Back foot hits and ball releases. So he's a guy that can do those things as well.
There's no doubt. I think his game's going to translate very well to the NFL game. We spent a lot of time when he was here talking about just timing and rhythm of throws in the passing game. So to him, he'll pick up on that very well, very easily. And, again, I think he'll do a phenomenal job.
Coach, talk a little bit about Nate as a person, because people don't realize what a class young man this guy is.
Well, I have 3 boys myself, and Nate Sudfeld is their favorite player. He's the guy that you'd want him to come over to our house, babysit the kids. Just a phenomenal kid. Always has a smile on his face, easy to talk to, easy to work with. I just think I can't say enough great things about him. I think he's everything that you want in a player. And, again, as an NFL organization, I think he would do a phenomenal job of just leading a team. And that's what he did for us for 4 years, and I think, he can do that at the next level.
And he's a guy that's been on missions and done things like those kinds of things.
No doubt. Very selfless individual, willing to give his own time, and not a lot of kids do that. Socially, he was never a big party social guy. He wanted to stay to himself. Football was very important to him, and I think he did a good job of academically, from a football standpoint, investing, but then also in the community, giving back with some of those community service hours.
Yeah, I think he's one of the kids when you think about, we go back to last season and at the luncheon, spoke at the luncheon, represented the players. And for us, covering them from my side, I love watching guys grow, the way he grew off the field, because that's part of the fun as well. And I know it is for you as well, Coach. When you see them mature as a person, come in as a kid that really doesn't know much, then all of a sudden they're going into their senior year and they're a leader on and off the field.
No doubt. And I tell you what happens with quarterbacks. A lot of times they come in out of high school and they sort of think they have all the answers, right? And, you know, when you play here for Coach Wilson at Indiana, he's a hard-nosed, tough coach. And he challenges our players, and he challenged Nate quite a bit that, listen, you're doing great, but you're not nearly as good as you can be, and this team needs you to do more. And so for Nate, that was humbling, but I think he responded to that coaching. And again, I think having those characteristics of being a leader, being a great student, giving back in the community, to me, he's a perfect individual.
Kevin, what are you going to do without him?
Well, we're going to find the next guy, and that's what we're doing right now, you know, and that's why they call us coach, and that's why you recruit. So, you know, we're in the process of figuring that out right now, and we got a lot of guys that are duking it out.
Obviously, when you have to go through the process again, are you looking for the same qualities in the next guy? Because sometimes that's hard to find.
It is. And, you know, the hardest thing is trying not to compare the guys that we have now to Nate.
Sure.
Because they're all different. But, man, in my mind, I'm like, boy, that's not how Nate did it. You know, can't you do it how Nate did it?
Yeah.
But these guys are different, and that's fine. And, you know, for us, we have to go back right to square one. And it's an exciting time for us as coaches because for us, we get to coach. And at a certain point, Nate, you know, he kind of knew his fundamentals. He knew the offense, and so we were sort of just polishing things. Now we're right back to square one with a bunch of young quarterbacks.
How does that change your offense for the coming year?
Well, right now we're just installing base concepts. So right now I don't know that we've done a lot of scheming, if you will, or changing the dynamic of what we do. We're just trying to install just the base plays, our base tempo, and letting these guys get a feel for how we operate. And then from there we'll base things on the personnel once we get to fall and who we have and who we need to accentuate.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Obviously, you got a big job ahead of you. You better get to work.
I'm excited. I'm going right back to work right now.
Kevin Johns, quarterbacks coach for this Indiana football team. We're going to come back with another guest right after this. Welcome back to Bellingham Pavilion here at Indiana's Pro Day 2016, and we're sitting with Jason Spriggs, All-American offensive tackle for this Indiana football team, about to head into the NFL world. Jason, first of all, congratulations on a tremendous career here at Indiana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Obviously, I know this time for you is very exciting. You're about to take a next step in your life. And, of course, football has been a big part of it up to now, but it's even going to be a bigger part of it from a career perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I'm entering in a whole nother world here, and it's becoming a lot more serious, and it's a job. And it's something I'm starting to realize and I'm having to reenact that.
Obviously, the Combine, unbelievable numbers at the Combine today, and the workout you had today, they're telling us the numbers were pretty special as well.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the two workouts I did today. I was trying to improve on from the Combine. I thought I didn't do my personal best from the Combine, so I thought I improved on those here today.
Vertical? Vertical, 4 inches?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that I thought was a strong suit of mine. And at the Combine, I didn't get the numbers I wanted, so I definitely wanted to come out and prove that I can get better here.
Is that what's driving you? Because your numbers were so good at the Combines that you really didn't need to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
but why do it?
Yeah, just because, you know, I felt like I could do better, and you know, I kind of want to show that wasn't my best, and there's different things that, you know, I think I could do better at it, and so I want to strive to be the best I can.
When you have an opportunity to talk to coaches and they're talking about you at a particular position, what are some of the things that they want to see from you, or some of the questions that you've been getting asked?
You know, just if I can improve and if I can continue to improve on the things that they want me to do and fix different problems I have with my game, and so that's really what they're looking at, and they're trying to determine whether I'll do that for them in the future. So
I'm guessing you answered yes, I can do
all
those things.
For
sure.
Is it a pressure scenario when you go to a Combine like you did?
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit, and I think that you know, you try to take some of the pressure off by just focusing on what you're doing and just being yourself in the interviews and stuff like that. So while there's a lot of pressure on it, it's a fun atmosphere, and it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So
what's that the Wonderlic test like? Is that difficult?
It's difficult, and at the same time, you, like I said, you try to do your best, and there's somewhat of a technique to it, but not much. So it's really you try to do your best, and it just gives the NFL that much more of an insight into who you are.
Go ahead.
Talk about a little pressure sometimes. Compare the two places, Indianapolis and today. What was the pressure like?
Oh, I mean, the pressure, not even close. It's a lot more of a laid-back atmosphere here. Just being with my guys and my coaches and being back at school, that in itself is a little bit less pressure. But, doing what I did at the Combine, I feel like that took some of the pressure off as well.
Was there one particular aspect of the Combine, one particular drill that you did not want to be a part of but did it anyway? Is there anything that you dislike?
I mean, there's a lot of the medical stuff and stuff like that kind of runs on, and it gets a little boring at times. But at the same time, that's another step to being in the NFL, and the better you can do at that, the better chance you have of getting drafted. So you just have to look at it in those kind of ways. How
much contact do scouts or teams have with you at this point? Do you have quite a bit?
Yeah, and I get a couple calls every once in a while, and they can call when they want. I'm fairly sure. So I've got a couple visits scheduled, and we'll see how those go in the future.
Is there an agent scenario that's involved here? I mean, do you have an agent at this point?
Yes, I do.
And was that a tough process? Was that difficult?
I don't think it was difficult, but I definitely took my time with it. I didn't want to go with somebody that I didn't trust or that I didn't want to be with. So it definitely took me a little while. And, I worked with my parents back and forth trying to see who was the best fit for us.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure some personal workouts may be in your future because you're a good player. But kind of take us from today moving toward the draft. What will you be doing? Where will you be preparing? And how will you get yourself mentally and physically ready for that draft day?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to work out, here at school, or that's where I've been doing all since here. So I'm going to continue to try to get in better shape and to be in the best shape as possible. Keep mentally sharp and on these visits and see how it goes. Trying to impress as many people as possible.
There you go. It only takes one.
Exactly.
Jason, congratulations on an awesome career here in Indiana, being an All-American, and obviously nothing but the best to you in the next level.
Thank you.
Jason Spriggs, our guest here on the 2016 IU Pro Day here at Mellencamp Pavilion. We'll be back with another guest in a moment. Welcome back to Pro Day here at Indiana University, here at Mellencamp Pavilion. I'm Don Fischer, along with Howard Griffith, and we have a special guest, the Bandit, Zach Shaw, with us today. The Bandit in Indiana, if you don't know, is a defensive end position for this Indiana football team. And Zach, first of all, congratulations. Pro Day, how was it for you?
I thought it was pretty good. My first workout for the scouts, and I felt like I came out and showed them what I had, and looking forward to where it goes from there.
You had a really good 40 time.
I mean, that's what I was working on. I wanted to run a high 4.5, low 4.6, and I think I clocked out at 4.61, 4.62, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I told you they all want to be fast.
I know.
It never changes.
And you're still not happy, right?
No, that needs to be a little faster than that.
Yeah.
Obviously, working out in this situation in front of pro scouts from every NFL football team, little pressure, little nervousness involved?
Oh yeah, but I feel like I do a lot better under bigger situations like this. I feel like I played really well in big games and big situations. So I mean, I was nervous, but once I got going, I felt pretty good about it. So we'll see where it goes from there.
I'm sure you thought about today a lot. You played it over in your mind. Was it what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, I played over a lot in my mind. I couldn't even sleep last night thinking about it. So I got up pretty early this morning just so I could focus and try to get my mind right. And it was what I expected, but I'm looking forward to see where it goes.
What are you hearing? I mean, what are they asking you to do and telling you things that you may want to do to be able to make a team?
I mean, I just got to be quick, I haven't really talked to anybody really, but I have an agent said some people want some film on me, so I'm looking forward to get that out there and see what happens. But, I mean, I feel like I'm the right size for a linebacker in the NFL, so I feel like teams are going to want me to play that, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Does that bother you that you'd have to switch positions and learn something over again?
No, I mean, linebacker's pretty simple. I was a stand-up DN, so I kind of had a linebacker role, but I was just up on the line. We're kind of 4-3, so I mean, I just stood up, I mean, I had some drops and I got to rush the passer, but I feel like getting back there in the middle or something like that, I feel like I'll be comfortable there.
How much of a change do you envision the next level to be compared to this level? Because you made the change pretty successfully from high school to college.
Right. I mean, it's going to be a bigger change. I feel like everyone there is just an elite athlete at every position, you know, and it's a lot faster game. So I feel like I just got to work on my speed, work on my technique, and I think I'll be all right.
As far as your school here in Indiana, do you feel it prepared you for the next level in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, it was great working out here, you know, especially the 2 months that we had to train for pro day. I feel like really prepared me. You know, I gained a lot of weight, got stronger, got faster, so I feel like being here at Indiana really helped me.
When you look back at your time here at Indiana, what sticks out the most for you?
My time, you know, just looking back when we beat Purdue 3 years in a row, you know, that's one of the best memories I'm going to have for the rest of my life, you know.
He's my man. If that's your best memory, then you got the best memory of all time.
Yeah,
you know
that?
Right. Well, Zach, obviously we appreciate you dropping by. Congratulations on your workout today.
Thank you.
Obviously you knocked it out of the park, and I think you got to be happy about that. We'll see where it takes you.
Thank you.
All right, Zach Shaw, our guest here on Pro Day here at Indiana University. Back with another guest after this. Here at 2016 IU Pro Day, we're joined by another guest, defensive tackle Darius Latham from Indianapolis. Darius obviously opting to go to the pro level at the next level here, and you've gone through the combine and now a pro day here in Indiana. Obviously, that's an interesting experience. How much pressure is there on a pro day or the combine, or did you feel any today compared to the combine?
Nah, it wasn't nearly as much as the combine, you know. That's a different atmosphere, but it's still, you know, you get the butterflies before every event, you know. Just want to do your best, so you just got to be prepared for it.
Was it fun? Was it a fun experience?
Yeah, it's definitely fun, you know, competing with your teammates and, you know, guys you've been creating a bond with for so many years, so it's definitely a better atmosphere than the combine.
What are some of the things you wanted to work on or you're working on as you get closer to the draft?
Staying in shape, football shape, as far as my position. Getting better with my fundamentals, techniques, how my pad level, how low I am, and my hands and all that.
When you say staying in shape, is that a question that's coming up from scouts that are wanting you to stay physical, stay consistent with your weight?
Really, it's like chasing the ball was more so my critique.
Okay. Just staying after it.
Right.
Okay.
Motor.
Yeah, having that motor. So tell me, you're playing at the defensive tackle position. What do you think is the most important aspect of it when you're coming off the ball that makes you a difference maker?
Being fast. You got to have a fast get off, you know. Really, especially how the league is changing to mostly passing. You know, you got to get that good jump off the ball, get vertical up the field, and cause chaos.
Has anybody talked to you about what they expect you to do differently than what you did at the college level?
No, it just more so just it was critiquing my ball, chasing the ball, and you know, pad level, those things, the same things that I've been critiquing myself on. So.
You trained obviously for the combine, you trained for today, and you talked a little bit about that off microphone. Tell us a little bit about the experience that you had in training to get ready for the combine.
It was a good experience. You know, I was out at San Diego Exos training facility. You know, ran into some good guys, different positions, you know, different type of guys. So it was just cool just being able to build that connection.
A lot of different players from different schools.
Right.
And was anything different that you learned out there compared to what strength and conditioning and those kinds of things were here?
It's just different little tweaks, you know, different ways people do things, you know, but it all boils down to the same thing. But out there, I feel like, you know, they really focus on transforming your body, getting you out of the way in shape, and you know, they really don't worry about specifically just one thing. They try to cover everything.
How about the mental side of it? Anything that they asked you to do in that regard?
Really, they was preparing us like with classes, you know, like Wonderlic testing and, you know, things about saving your money when you get to the NFL. So it was an all-around good experience there.
Good. So moving forward, what will you be doing? What's the plan moving forward for you?
right now I'm just planning on keep working out, staying posted with different teams, visits. I got a visit with the Arizona Cardinals on the 4th coming up soon, so just staying in shape, man, just working out.
You enjoying it?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yeah.
Smile a lot more then, okay? Keep smiling.
Darius, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on a great career at Indiana.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Darius Latham, our guest here, and we'll be back with another guest here in a moment. IU Pro Day here at Indiana University, here at Mellencamp Pavilion. We're joined by a senior-to-be, and Dan Feeney, offensive guard for this Indiana football team. And, Dan, you've been watching your teammates go through Pro Day today. What's that experience been like? Because you haven't had to have to deal with this today.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing a couple players go out there and give it all they got. I know these guys have been training real hard the last couple months, and I think they've been doing pretty solid all day. So I'm excited to see them Sunday throw a little bit more, and then I know the lineman killed it today, so it's good to see.
Jason Spriggs, your offensive line teammate, and Jake Reed both did well today. And, Spriggs just knocked it out of the park at the Combine based on everything we've heard about. Have you talked to him about that experience?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he's definitely a little confident about it. I mean, he's always good at getting big numbers up. So, I mean, he did a great job today. He got a little higher vertical, so it was great to see. And, I mean, he kills it in all these drills. So
obviously these guys feel a little pressure. Does it? You seeing this today and what these guys have gone through, does it give you kind of an insight on the things that you need to work on as you get ready to do the same thing in a year from now?
Yeah, definitely. It was cool to see the drills that the O-line coaches were working with Jason and Reed on. So it's kind of cool that we can kind of incorporate that in what we do in spring ball and stuff like that, and definitely summer drills. So I think it's kind of gives me a little peek, a little glimpse of what's to come. So it's exciting.
Coach Frey mentioned that he was excited to obviously have you back as a leader on this line. What were some of the determining factors when you decided?
It just felt right in my heart, just come back, just get one more year with these guys and develop further as a player. There's still a couple flaws in my game that I think that I can really excel at and get better. So
you want to share those flaws? Or let's not call them flaws. Let's say things that you'd like to improve on.
Just getting strength. Definitely got to get stronger when you're playing in the NFL. There's big grown men out there. They're strong guys, so you definitely got to get stronger. Faster feet, keeping head up through contact and stuff like that. So just little things that I can work on and get my game to the next level.
What have you learned about yourself as you watch your friends go through this process? Things that you think, okay, well, I've got to improve in this area as well. Not necessarily on the field, maybe off the field, wherever it may be.
I think just maturing a little bit, I guess, through some of the things, because sometimes I take things a little too fun, or I'll kind of take things not serious. But I think just slowing down and thinking, all right, let's go to work, let's refocus in, let's hone in on what needs to be done, and let's do it.
Obviously, the experience that these guys have gone through, it's a testing process. It's to develop. Has anything popped out at you that you feel like you've really got to jump into and really work on a lot differently than you have up to this point?
I don't think so. I mean, I definitely think Coach Frey has high standards for the whole line and definitely keeps us motivated and keeps us trying to push ourselves to the best player that we can be. So he's always there trying to get us a little bit better. So I think just seeing this is just really shows how much he knows about everything like that, and just how spot on he's like coaching us to how these guys are being coached. So it's pretty crazy.
kind of like your dad as you get older. You think,
a little bit.
It's like smarter than I thought he was, right?
A little bit.
One other thing in regard to next season, obviously with Jason gone, with Jake gone, you've got to get a couple of new faces in there. Yep. What are you seeing in spring practice up to this point that's going to solidify those situations?
I've seen a lot of good things. Brandon Knight stepping up, young freshman, got a little time as tight end when we were running low on those last year. He's doing very well at the left tackle position. We got Wes Martin, left guard, and Jacob Bailey. They're both seeing time, both very experienced, so they're doing really solid. And then Wes Rogers coming in at the center position, filling in for Jake Reed. I think he's doing very well as well.
Confidence level different this year based on the fact you guys went to a bowl game last year?
Yeah, definitely. It's good that we got a little taste, but we want a little more.
I understand that completely. Dan Feeney, our guest here on IU's Pro Day. He is coming back to Indiana next season at offensive guard, and we're thrilled to have him back, to say the least. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the IU Pro Day here at Indiana University, here in Mellencamp Pavilion, and we're sitting with Howard Griffith, of course, from the Big Ten Network, and our guest, Nate Sudfeld. Nate, first of all, welcome to the show, and you guys put on a pretty good show here today.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a blast. Thank you guys for coming.
Well, no problem there. And talk a little bit about what this experience has been like for you. Obviously, you were part of the Combine. You're part of Pro Day today. Obviously, there's pressure involved in both of these, I assume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's what you dream about doing. So it's awesome to, do all the things, an all-star game, a Combine, and a Pro Day. But it's crazy how spread out they all are, because you go to an all-star game, talk to a bunch of teams, in a few weeks you don't hear anything, and then you go to the Combine, talk to a bunch of teams, then you don't hear anything. It's just, you have no clue. They're all so close to the vest, so you could go wherever, and we'd all just be happy to go to one place, so we're excited.
I understand that. Talk a little bit about the all-star experience. Obviously, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a blast. I mean, first of all, competing with some guys I've played against and watched on TV so much, that was a good time, and then meeting some good coaches and NFL personnel. That was really cool, kind of get your feet wet in the whole process. And then playing the game, just kind of playing with guys again you've played with. It was a blast.
Talk a little bit about your throwing today. Was it scripted, or did you just kind of go from what the scouts wanted to see? Did they take you through each throw?
Had it scripted right here. Yes, sir.
Let's see what you got here.
I made sure I color-coded it. The green was receivers, the blue was tight ends, the red was running backs. So I made sure we were all on the same page. They all kind of had one to look over, and little notes, making sure they were clean on depth and angles. So yeah, they did a great job.
Talk a little bit about you had a chance to throw today to some guys you're familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
and how different is that when you're throwing in a setting that you're not so familiar with the guy?
Yeah. I think that's my biggest, one of my biggest traits as a quarterback is just the off-season work, the preparation, the processing with the process with guys that you're familiar with and getting on the same page. And so that's a little more difficult when you're with guys you don't understand where they're going to be, just the little intricacies. But, I mean, like you said, today it was really nice to have guys I was familiar with, knew exactly what their angle was on a post and things like that. So it was, it's my element. It was a lot of fun.
Spent some time under center.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of time.
Hey, all of them. All of them.
That's the question, right?
Yes,
Can he move from under center?
Yes, sir. That's, kind of the big question is these shotgun quarterbacks. Even though in the NFL you see most teams are 70% shotgun. It's kind of a rite of passage. So, it was great.
What have you learned about yourself through this process?
Well, I've learned a lot about myself, really. It's kind of been, because, again, there's a lot of time to kind of think. All you're doing is training and eating healthy and taking care of your body, so a lot of time to think. And you really realize either you love football or you don't, and I just realized, man, I love this. I love the process of it. I love every bit of it. So, it's good to know I'm doing what I love and hopefully get a shot at it.
Sonny, in getting prepared for this whole thing, was this more about you throwing the football? Was it more about getting in different physical condition? What was it all about in that regard?
Well, I just wanted to come out and show whoever was here and just that I love playing. I love doing it. I love working with my guys. I love to compete. I'll do whatever. I don't care if I'm not the best at one thing or not. I'm going to work at it, and I'm not afraid of my weaknesses, and so I'm going to work at them again. And then when I just get to go out and throw the ball around, that's nothing I like better to do better. So that's my favorite thing.
What, as far as being contacted, nobody's contacted you at this point, or do you have any contact with agents or those kinds of people who are interceding in behalf of scouts or that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I have an agent who's kind of taking care of that stuff for me, talking to teams for me and stuff. And but I've talked to almost every single team throughout the process, and a lot of coaches, a lot of scouts, a lot of GMs and things like that. So again, they all play it so close to their chest. You have no clue where you're going. The person I maybe talk to most probably doesn't want me, and the person I haven't talked to once maybe wants me. So
that's how it works.
That's how it works. So, yep. So I'm just enjoying it.
Well, have a great time. Obviously, we look forward to seeing you at the next level. There's no question about that. We believe you've got the skills and the talent to get it done.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Nate Sudfeld, our guest here on Pro Day at Indiana University. We'll be back with another guest here in a moment. Welcome back to Mellencamp Pavilion here at Indiana University, IU Pro Day 2016. Our final guest of the day is Indiana running back Jordan Howard. And Jordan, first of all, congratulations on your success here, on not only your Pro Day today, but the Combine. Obviously, this has been a great experience for you, has it not?
Yes, it's been a very good experience, very exciting. It's been a long process as well, just waiting for my Pro Day and everything in the draft.
Was there a little pressure on these 2 days for you?
I didn't really feel like there was that much pressure. I mean, some teams, they probably felt like it was pressure because I didn't run my 40 at the Combine, so they probably felt like it was pressure on me to perform well at the 40.
Has your injury issues, have they gone away?
Yes, my injury issues have gone away. I'm 100% healthy.
That's great. That's great news.
Yeah, and you look at, too, moving around through those drills. Which one do you think you did the best at today as far as some of the things that you were asked to do today?
I felt like I did pretty well on the catching. I mean, I dropped more passes than I would like, but I felt like I did pretty good and running the routes and everything like that, getting in and out of my breaks and cuts.
What's the part of your game that you need to continue to develop, to continue to get better at?
I feel like I need to develop my moves in the open field, making people miss, making more sudden cuts, and I guess trusting my speed more.
But isn't it just so much easier just to run through them?
I mean,
yeah, that's less effort.
I mean, it's kind of easy to do that, but I know if I want to last longer, I'm going to have to change some of my running style a little bit.
Well, what about the training that you've done since the season ended up to this point? Was it different, a different kind of training than you've done anything before in your life?
The training that I did after the season, preparing for the Combine and Pro Day, it was more like specific for like speed. It was speed training, so it wasn't really that much conditioning. But we had position coaches come like 3 days a week, and they would put us through drills and stuff, and they got us ready for the Combine and so we would know what to expect on the drills and everything like that.
Was that a fun process?
It was a fun process being around with other athletes from other schools, like big-time players. I was training with Ezekiel Elliott, Kelvin Taylor, Laquan Treadwell, and people like that.
Well, obviously, you get to know these guys a little bit better. Does everybody have the same feeling? We're all going into a new world, so to speak, and we don't really know quite what to expect?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody's just excited for the process and being patient and seeing where they're going to go in the draft. I mean, some people know like where they're going, like they might know they're going in the first round and things like that, while other people are just hoping they go in the second round or something like that.
Any indication for you in that regard?
I think I'm looking anywhere second through fourth round.
Gotcha. Well, that's good money, I think.
Oh, yeah, it is. No doubt.
You know all about that at this point, do you?
Not really. I haven't really been focused on the money. I just trying to have a team fall in love with me, just one team. That's all I need.
That's all you need. No question about it. Jordan, thank you so much for
you
joining
for
us.
me.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Jordan Howard, our guest here on Indiana's Pro Day, and we're about ready to wrap things up here. Obviously, Howard, thank you so much for being with us. You did a tremendous job. Great insights, stuff that I don't know, and I really appreciate you being here and being able to help us with this situation.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity seeing guys like Jordan really go out and perform and really, I think, meet and exceed expectations. It's the fun part about this. As he mentioned, guys are more comfortable at home when they're able to go out and compete at a high level, and you saw that. And I think one of the things you also can take from the situation we saw today, they're doing a good job here at Indiana. The things they need to do football-wise, off the field, training these guys, getting them prepared, because they really showed out here today.
We thank you again for joining us. We had a great time here today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. And obviously, Pro Day 2016, a very successful one here at Indiana University.